Yeah, during the Christian time of slavery, what you found, right, was when European Christians hit African shores throughout the whole of the slave trade, throughout the whole of the time they were enslaving people, you found black Africans fighting. So you had Cinco, how you doing? So you had, when Europeans landed in Africa, there were fights and wars between Europeans and Africans. When they took them on the slave ships, there was still fighting on the slave ships. When he put them on the plantation, the Africans were still fighting for their freedom. There was a sense of pride in African people that said, you know what, we actually don't want to be slaves, so we're going to fight to be free. And all throughout the history of the European and African interaction, you will find Africans fighting against their slavery, fighting against their captors. You have people like Nat Turner, you have people like Queen Nzinga, you have people like Harriet Tubman, you have all of these figures. But what I was realizing is that the Arab slave trade has gone on for nearly 900 more years than the European slave trade went on for. And we're yet to find a figure, a black figure within the Arab world who stood up to slavery. A black Muslim figure in the Arab world who stood up to not wanting to be enslaved. And that made me think. That made me think that the black Muslim slave, the black Muslim, has to probably be the most docile Negro that you'll find. Because I'm wondering, why have you guys not, after 1400 years, had some kind of rebellion and uprising? I'm struggling. I'm really struggling to find why black people within the Muslim Arab world have not started to say, you know what, this is bullshit. Fuck.
Why should we worship your God when he ain't do shit for us?
But let's get this understood. First of all, when we using this context of slavery, we have to understand.
Are you going to answer the question? Because you did this the other night.
Hold on. Check this out. When you use the context of slavery, you have to know what slavery is, right? So slavery is to put yourself in bondage, right? To be in bondage, right? So what the white man did was not just put us in bondage.
No. Let's talk about that goddamn Arab. Let's talk about that Arab first.
We're using this term slavery and making it synonymous across the board, which is a very, very big mistake.
So the Muslims didn't enslave black people? Black Muslims didn't enslave black people the way I'm talking about?
Listen.
Are you, hold on, before we move forward, stop. Before we move forward, I am talking about castration. I'm talking about being murdered. I'm talking about not having the right of freedom to read or write what I want. Are you saying Muslims did not do this in the name of Allah to black people?
I'm telling you, Muslims did not do that in the name of Allah to black people.
All right, yo, I'm done talking to him. Yo, we talk to you later. So I can't do this. I'm not doing this. But I'm not going to let no nigga tell me that Muslims didn't oppress and enslave and castrate and lynch and incapacitate, stop us from reading and writing. I'm not going to let no nigga tell me that. In the name of Allah, in the name of the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that is the same damn demon that was used and called upon to enslave our people. You can't get away with that. I would be wrong to allow the people to listen to you speak any further. At least keep it real and say.
أن الإنسان لا يخجل من دينه ويقول لا هذا قبل والإسلام لا يدعو إلى هذا. لا، كن قويا في دينك، أظهر دينك. نعم هذا ديني، نعم. الذي لا يرضى أن يعبد الله تبارك وتعالى فإنه يستعبد أو يدفع الجزية أو يدخل في الإسلام أو يقاتل. هذه الأحوال الأربعة أبدا، لا يوجد حال خامس. لذا أول ما يدعى الإنسان يدعى الإسلام، يقول له اعبد الله تبارك وتعالى. الله خلقك لتعبده، فإذا قال لا أريد أن أعبد الله تبارك، نقول تعيش في أرض الله ولا تعبده، ادفع الجزية. يقول ولن أدفع الجزية. فإذا رفض أن يعبد الله ورفض أن يدفع الجزية، نقول له إذن ما لنا معك إلا القتال، فنقاتله لأجل هذا، فإن قتلناه فهو في النار. وإن أسرناه فهو من السبي.
Now we got to get into what slavery is. So what you gonna do? Tell me about a fancy rendition of slavery that is different so we can let these motherfuckers off the hook? Are you serious? The one that is trying to present the slave master's trash to you and tell you now that they ain't enslave us. How the hell am I gonna allow him to speak on this show? It's supposed to be for educational purposes. I don't mind disagreeing with somebody, but this ain't gonna be like the other night with Bashir when he's trying to, what's the definition of good? All this craziness. Now, what is slavery, brother? Brother, you know what slavery I'm talking about. I'm talking about us being made into eunuchs. I'm talking about us not being able to reproduce ourselves. I'm talking about us not having the freedom and the privilege to be left to our own vices so we can advance our own society or destroy it of our own free will and of our own accord. That's what I'm talking about. So let's not play crazy when we talk about slavery. You ain't going to give me no fancy slavery, because I ain't talking about no fancy slavery. I ain't talking about no indentured servants. I know what you're talking about. I'm not crazy. I know the willing slavery, indentured servitude that people could go into and then be returned to their family. We're not going to play games like the slavery that I'm talking about didn't transpire within the confines of Islam. That is disrespectful to black people, and you are hiding the facts on behalf of your Arab slave master. You hiding for the Arab slave master, who, in my opinion, is worse than the white slave master. The white slave master monetized slavery and made niggas think it was more impressive to be a slave under the white man than the Arab, because the Arab is so damn vicious to us. You see all those mulattoes running around in Africa right now? You think light-skinned people naturally populated Africa? They double castrated us and raped the women by the millions. The man in the world leading and most babies ever made was a damn Muslim who had over 10,000 black men in servitude with their penises cut, and had the most women in bondage that were black women, and raped them, every last one of them. And who he couldn't rape, he let his soldiers rape them and watered them down. And that's why you see the coolie hair Arab today that look a little like he's black. It look like he has, phenotypically it looks like he has some black features. And you're gonna ignore all of that and tell me no Muslim enslaved us? You're gonna ignore all of that and see them black features on them Arabs and think that that is natural? All because you're trying to protect the law? You can't do that. Not until you admit Muslims enslaved black people. Hold on. You can't talk until you admit Muslims enslaved black people.
You gotta admit that, boss. Take you and cut you up and rape your women. And
yes.
But they are not Muslim.
I hear you.
The Quran.
They ain't have a Quran in their goddamn hand?
So if you show me the Quran where it says to castrate them, then I'll say, you know what, Quran? You're absolutely right.
Did Prophet Muhammad have slaves? Did Prophet Muhammad have slaves? Did Prophet Muhammad have slaves?
Prophet Muhammad didn't have slaves, brother.
Yo, I'm out of here. I'm done.